tipo kong negosyo. Ang tipo kong negosyo.
Mahahanap mo rin ang iyong perfect match, ang negosyong magsisilbing inspirasyon sa iyo at makapagpapaunlad ng iyong kabuhayan. Hindi lang door number 1, number 2 at number 3 ang magbubukas para sa iyo dahil samut-saring business ang matutuklasan sa Ang Tipo Kong Negosyo. Kung saan-saan ka pa naghahanap ng business opportunity, sa akin lang. May opportunity ka na.
Pwede ba kitang abutin? Ikaw kasi ang pangarap ko.
Sa'yo na yung SSS, GSIS, pati ng PhilHealth ko. Basta, akin lang ang pag-ibig mo
Ang budget ko sa'yo ay limited. Limited edition.
Ang tipo kong negosyo.
Sina Tess Ramirez at Direktor Thelma Dumpit Murillo sa Ang Tipo Kong Negosyo.
Good morning! Maganda umaga po ng Biyernes sa inyong lahat. October 3, 2014 na tayo ngayon. Ang programa pong ito ay hatid sa inyo ng Radyo ng Bayan at ng Department of Trade and Industry. Na sumasayang papawid hindi lamang po dito sa DZRB, kundi maging sa aming sister station sa FM Band, ang DWBR at sa lahat ng Radyo ng Bayan stations nationwide. Ako po si Tess Ramirez at ang aking partner ay si Director Thelma Dumpit Murillo. Director Thelma, good morning!
Good morning, partner Tess. At syempre sa lahat ng ating mga suging taga-subaybay. Good, thank God it's Friday.
Yes.
At na-miss natin sila, na-miss nila tayo last week.
Pareho.
Dahil na-preempt yung ating programa para doon sa nationwide Treevolution.
Mm-hmm.
Napaka-successful naman. Ilan nga mo yun, partner?
Ang dami.
Record.
Milyon na mga puno, di ba?
Oo, record number of trees planted.
Yes.
Oo, so lahat yan ang future ng ating mga kabundukan. Ayan. Na sana ay hindi putulin ng mga illegal loggers.
Oo naman.
Anyway, sa ating programa, partner, October 3 na ngayon. Ang buwan ng Oktubre ay ginugunita bilang Consumer Month.
Correct.
Oo. Bukod sa pagiging birthday month.
Birthday month nyo? Talaga? Kailan ba yon? Ang inyong special day?
Meron kayong 31 araw na pagpipilian.
Aba?
Oo. Anyway, so yan ang ating paksa sa umagang ito. Mga consumers. Partner. Partner, are you with me?
Ng ating Consumers Month. Ayan. At yung ating tema ay Consume and Conserve.
Oo. So, marami tayong mga karapatan bilang consumers. I think there are 8 rights. Pero meron ding responsibilidad ang mga consumers. So, sa mga susunod na programa natin or episodes, siguro pwede natin i-discuss ano-ano ba itong mga rights ng consumers. Diba? Pero ngayon, karamihan partners sa ating mga mamamayan, nagre-reklamo sa taas ng bayad sa kuryente.
Yun nga at hindi lang kuryente, pati mga bilihin, yung mga pangunahing bilihin natin.
Oo nga naman.
Pataas ang pataas.
Correct. So, ano ba yung mga alternatibong programa o paraan, diba, para matulungan yung ating mga consumers?
Yan. At, siyempre, unahin natin ang segmentong ito.
Strict ang budget ko
Para matulungan din kayo sa proper budgeting, di ba, Director Thelma? Nasa linya na yung ating makakausap.
Ang una nating makapanayam ay ang CEO ng Philippine Green Building Council, isang kaibigan at palagi akong naiimbita nito sa mga forum. Walang iba kundi si si Architect Chris De La Cruz. Good morning, Chris.
Yes, good morning, Ma'am Thelma. Magandang umaga sa lahat.
Long time no see, no hear.
Oo nga po.
Busy kayo.
Nanan po. Opo, at masyadong interesting po itong mga nakaraang mga buwan pagdating po sa aming trabaho sa energy efficiency.
Correct. Lalo na yung may panukala ngayon na yung humingi ng karagdagang powers, no? Para makapagtayo ng additional power plants ang ating gobyerno dahil sa anticipated power shortage sa 2015.
Opo. Ang masasabi ko po dyan, yan ho isa sa, I think, paraan ng gobyerno, no? Na para ma-address yung ating kakulangan sa kuryente or yung nakikita nating umaambang kakulangan sa kuryente.
Yes.
Pero maganda din po at naging paksa itong araw na to is yung energy efficiency.
That's right. Naman sa panig ng mga consumers kung paano sila pwedeng makatipid.
Opo.
Diba? Sa pagbabayad. Kasi napakamahal na ngayon. Talaga naman, hindi mo na... Minsan, ako nga, partner, sa bahay, nako, pinatay ko na yata lahat ng ilaw, pero bakit pagdating ng bill ko, ganun pa rin kalaki?
Oo. At saka doon sa electric fan, talagang makonsumo tayo sapagkat napakainit ng panahon, di ba? Yung iba nga, maghapon, magdamag, bukas yan.
Correct. So anyway, Architect Chris, ano ba ang ginagawa muna ng Philippine Green Building Council?
Yes. Kami sa Philippine Green Building Council, ito po partnership ng mga kaibigan natin sa industriya at kaibigan natin sa gobyerno kung saan ang focus po ng aming grupo ay pagpapatayo ng green building. Yung green building, hindi ho ito yung building na kulay green, na pininturahan ng green o tinaniman ng maraming halaman. Kung hindi, holistic po yung approach. Pero primarily, tinitignan ho natin dyan, water and waste and energy. At ngayon, ang focus laging nasa energy kasi lahat ho tayo apektado sa residential sector o sa commercial sector or sa industrial sector. Yan ho pinag-aaralan namin at nagbibigay kami ng mga guidance kung paano ho makapagpo-promote ng energy efficiency sa mga buildings po natin.
So, kayo rin ba yung parang nag-accredit or nagsa-certify na isang gusali ay green?
Yes, opo. Kami po yung nagsa-certify ng mga buildings. Ang pangalan ho ng certification Verde Rating System po. Alam po ninyo, hindi ho ito inimbento lang sa Pilipinas itong pagsa-certify na to. Kami po parte ng more than 100 national green building councils around the world na kung saan global po kasi itong issue ng energy, no?
Right.
So kung saan tinutulungan namin yung building sector na bumaba yung kanilang gamit ng kuryente at sa dulo ay maging mas mabuti tayo sa kalikasan.
Pero partner, ang tanong nung iba, mahal ba maging green? Kasi gusto mo nga tumulong sa kalikasan, sa kapaligiran, pero kakayanin ba ng ordinaryong mamamayan? Ngayon lang nga, hindi sila
hirap na tayo.
Makaagapay.
Ang opinion ko ho dyan is, alam nyo ho, hindi dapat cost-centric yung pag-iisip natin kung pagdating sa energy efficiency. Ganon din po naman, di ba, sa mga bahay. May mga bahay na mura, may mga bahay na mahal, pero hindi din green. Ganon din mo sa green. Maaari kung magkaroon tayo ng bahay na mahal na green building at pwede rin magkaroon tayo ng bahay na mura na green homes. Ang isang classic na example ho nito is yung halimbawa yung mga mahal, kung fully air-conditioned yung bahay, gusto nila gawing green, siguro gumamit siya ng solar power or solar absorption air conditioner para mababa ang konsumo. Siguraduhin niya silyado yung kanyang bahay para hindi lumabas yung lamig at well-insulated. Yung murang version naman nito, pwede naman ho kasing maglagay tayo ng malalaking bintana para passive cooling. Alam niyo ho, nakakalimutan lately, no, na minsan pwede naman palang ang solusyon bintana lang, hindi lagi aircon. So kung ano man yung napili, yung active systems like air conditioning, gawin ho ng maayos.
So you have to work with nature, ano?
Opo, and work with nature.
So yung mga feng shui, tama rin pala yun kasi harmony with nature. That's nothing but harmony with nature pag nag-design ka.
At saka ngayon, meron na lumalabas sa mga environmental friendly options. Marami na dyan yung mga biofuels, solar panels, yung binabanggit nga ni Architect, tsaka yung mga e-vehicles, diba? Pero yung mga malalaking kumpanya, Architect Chris, paano naman sila makakatulong po pagdating sa energy conservation?
Ay nako, pag ang pinag-uusapan po natin ay mga opisina, maganda hong una nilang gawin dahil hindi naman maiwasan sa commercial sector yung gumamit ng air conditioner. Ang masabi ko lang dyan yung proper maintenance ng kanilang air conditioning unit.
Correct.
Ang mga aircon, pag hindi yan maintained na maayos at ito ay madudumi, alam nyo, mas malaki ang ginagamit na kuryente ng ating mga air conditioners. Ang isa pa magandang tignan is lalo na dun sa mga afternoon facing na sunlight yung kanilang mga side ng opisina, particular yung air conditioning at yung control yung kanilang air conditioning, tignan nila yung cladding ng building, tignan nila yung insulation. Kasi alam niyo one thing lang yung magpalamig, pero minsan kasi nilalabanan yung pagpapalamig kasi natural na mainit yung kwarto. So dapat well-insulated yung mga building.
Correct.
Ang maganda isa pa, medyo napapansin ninyo, nagiging paborito ng industriya na maglagay ng puro salamin sa kanilang building. Meron tinatawag na low emissivity glass. Ito pag kinabit natin yung ganitong klase ng salamin, nababawasan yung init na pumapasok sa building. Kinokontra nung salamin. So para nating sinabi, yung building natin naka-shades.
Parang meron siyang filter.
Parang ganon. Pero ito, ang pinifilter niya, hindi lang yung light, kundi pinifilter din niya yung init. Kasi nung araw, ang ginagawa natin, tinitint natin. Nangyayari, ang napipilter off natin, yung light. Yung init po, hindi necessarily napipilter kasi iinit yung salamin at dinadala rin yan sa loob ng room. So, yun po yung mga magandang pwedeng gawin. Pagdating naman sa mga factory, meron din naman. Tignan nila yung mga motor nila. Yung mga motor sa ating mga factories, maganda sana kung i-maintain natin mabuti, check-checkin natin, siguraduhin natin they are well-oiled kung yun ang kailangan. Mayroong mga annual checks. Kasi alam nyo, yung mga inefficient na motor, ang problema dyan, malakas din gumamit ng kuryente. Kung luma po yung inyong factory, baka bisitahin ninyo, baka kailangan ng palitan yung motor ng mas efficient na motors. Marami naman tayong mga inhinyero pagdating sa ganyan. Dito, another project ng DOE, yung AMAS, mga energy efficient consultants natin, maaring makatulong pagdating sa ganyan. Nationwide alam ko marami mga pwede tumulong dyan sa area na yan.
So, kasama nito, partner, kailangan pala yung kukunin na arkitekto ay bihasa din pagdating sa green. Diba kayo may listahan din kayo ng mga accredited na arkitekto, Chris?
Opo, actually building professionals po, architects, engineers, facility managers. Meron training program na sa tulong ng DOE na in-establish natin. Ito po yung Verde certified professionals natin. Sila po binigyan natin ng training, mga lisensyado mga arkitekto at engineer ito na meron binigyan namin ng mga supplemental trainings and certification program para maging mas up-to-date yung kanilang binibigay na advice sa kanilang mga kliyente. Kasi dito sa GBC, meron kami mga regular technical exchanges both locally and with other countries. Maganda kasi hanggat pinag-uusapan natin to, mas marami tayo na po-provide na solusyon. And through these training programs, dito po natin kinakalat yung mga bagong idea natin pagdating sa green building.
Partner, alam mo yung isang gusali ng DTI, itong Philippine Trade Training Center. Ito ay nabigyan ng Efficient Lighting Certification din.
Talaga?
Oo. Kayo rin bang naggawad nito, Chris?
Yes po, ma'am. Isa po yan sa mga naging projects po namin dito sa GBC. Kasi meron kaming proyekto na tinitignan yung buong building. Meron kami mga issue-specific na projects at isa dyan is yung tinignan namin yung lighting efficiency ng several buildings po ng gobyerno natin and particularly yung project po na yan, isa po yan sa sinertify po ng grupo namin na ito po nagkakaroon ng savings para sa gobyerno dahil sa efficient lighting na project.
Congratulations kay OIC Director Nestor Palabyab ng PTTC. Anyway, so marami na, anong porsyento ngayon ang masasabi mong into this green initiative?
Alam niyo po, pagdating sa green initiatives, depende po kung sino nagbibilang. Yan nga ho siguro ang magandang pag-usapan ngayon sa gobyerno kung paano mako-consolidate yung informasyon mula sa iba-ibang mga grupo sa Pilipinas. Meron pong grupo ng mga arkitekto, mga inhinyero at kami ho dito sa industriya na meron kami mga kanya-kanyang project and of course yung gobyerno. So minsan ang nangyayari, ang impression po pag sinabi kung ilan ang green building sa Pilipinas, akala ko konti lang. Dahil halimbawa isang grupo, kami lang, o yung kabila lang ho magsasalita, pero lingid po sa kaalaman ng nakararami, marami na po palang ginagawa. So, ako ho, kung ako tatanungin nyo, it goes back po hundreds of years ago. So, doon ho sa inyo meron mga ancestral homes sa probinsya. Yes. Alam nyo ho, ito pinakamagagandang examples ng green building. Katulad, naalala nyo po ba yung alhibe ng yung bahay na bato kung saan doon nakalagay yung tubig na ginagamit po doon sa bahay. Ito po nakakatulong din para maging presko yung bahay nung araw. Wala pong aircon noon pero pas presko mga bahay dahil doon. Yung mga bentanilya, mga malalaking bintana, actually these are forms of green building, mga passive strategies na maganda na mabisita uli. Kaya kung ako po tatanungin nyo, ilang porsyento, hindi ko po masagot. Pero maganda ho, maisip natin, na bisitahin natin na mula nung araw pa hanggang ngayon, ang Pilipino nag-green building na. Nakakalimutan lang po paminsan-minsan. Maganda kung ating balikan.
That's right. Okay, well, siguro partner, panghuli, tanong na lang natin kung kasali ba ang Philippine Green Building Council sa pag-celebrate ng Consumer Month?
Ano po yung bahagi nyo doon, architect?
Hindi kami kasama officially sa Consumer Month sa mga official programs, pero ito pong buwan na ito, ang isa namin ginawa na nakaka-contribute po dito sa ating Consumer Month is World Green Building Week po last week. Ibig sabihin, more than 100 countries around the world sabay-sabay nag-celebrate nito sa pamamagitan ng paggawa ng conferences, pagbibigay ng training, at paggawa ho ng mga media blitz all over the world. So kami din ho, we did our share at nagkaroon ho kami ng conference at ang ating audience doon mga tao sa industriya at siyempre mga consumers na kung saan we are continuously sharing ideas on energy efficiency.
Okay. Thank you very much, Architect Chris.
Sige po, maraming salamat.
Kapag meron bago.
Sige po, ma'am. At Ma'am Telma, tatawagan ho namin kayo dahil alam namin kayo ang one of the most well-connected pagdating sa industriya at sana ho magtulungan ho tayo pagdating sa pag-promote ng energy efficiency.
Opo. Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend.
Okay, salamat din po.
Okay, maraming salamat kay Architect Chris de la Cruz. Magbabalik pa po ang programang Ang Tipo Kong Negosyo. Pagkatapos lamang po ng ilang paalala.
Ngayon, mapapakinggan na ang PBS Radyo ng Bayan saan mang panig ng daigdig. Sa pamamagitan ng internet, mag-log on lamang sa www.pbs.gov.ph. I-click ang Radyo ng Bayan Live o kaya sa www.pinoywebcaster.com. I-click lamang ang Listen. Worldwide na ang PBS Radyo ng Bayan, ang Radyo ng Bayan.
Kung saan-saan ka pa naghahanap ng business opportunity, sa akin lang, may opportunity ka na.
Pwede ba kitang abutin? Ikaw kasi ang pangarap ko.
Sa'yo na yung SSS, GSIS, pati na ang PhilHealth ko. Basta, akin lang ang pag-ibig mo
Ang budget ko sa'yo ay limited. Limited edition.
Ang tipo kong negosyo.
Sina Direktor Thelma Dumpit Murillo at Tess Ramirez sa Ang Tipo Kong Negosyo.
In the mood, in the mood,
Masulyap-sulyap.
in the mood, in the mood.
Okay, we're back sa oras na 31 minutes after 8. Director Telma.
Yes, ang susunod nating makausap partner ay ang Nielsen Philippines. At gusto natin kasi malaman kung ano ba ang profile ngayon ng Filipino consumers. Yan.
Importanteng malaman yan, di ba?
Kasi sabi nila, yung Pinoy daw, world's most socially conscious consumer.
Oh.
Totoo ba yun? So, kausapin natin yung ating susunod na panauhin.
Okay, nasa line na siya.
Nasa line na pala ang Managing Director ng Nielsen Philippines, Mr. Stuart Jamieson. Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
Welcome to the program and thank you for your time.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. You know, in the DTI, we have a slogan there that says, consumer is king. So, everything we do is geared towards or caters to the consumer. First of all, can you give us a profile of who is the Filipino consumer?
Look, I think the Filipino consumer is a very young consumer. There's growing affluency in the market, so they are now having money to spend. And in this latest study that we've conducted, the Filipino consumer is very environmentally and socially conscious.
Mm-hmm. So all of their buying decisions are based on these?
I wouldn't say all their buying decisions, but we do know that 82% of consumers that we studied do look at the packaging before they purchase a product to see whether that product is claiming to be environmentally friendly or support social causes.
Mm-hmm. It used to be that the manufacturing companies dictate what's in the market. Is that true? But now it's the consumer, because of the advent of the internet, they're the ones now with the choice.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. I think we've seen a trend or a change over the last few years where consumers are now driving more about product choice, and marketers and manufacturers really have to listen to the consumers if they want to be successful in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Partner, may tanong ka kay Mr. Jamieson.
Mm-hmm. Director Stuart, consumers
Yes.
can be fickle and difficult to please, right? What is the key to predicting consumers' behavior? And how does consumer sentiment impact the national economy as a whole?
Okay, to the first question, I think the best way to understand the fickleness of consumers is to study them. And obviously, the more you learn about the consumer and what they want and how they go about finding out about products and services, the easier it is to satisfy them. To your second question, consumer sentiment has a huge impact on the national economy and on marketing and manufacturers. We know here in the Philippines that the Filipino consumer is one of the top 3 countries in the world for consumer confidence. And I think that drives a lot of the positivity in the marketplace, and it drives a lot of the growth that we're seeing.
Mm-hmm. And how long have you been in the business of understanding consumers' behavior?
Personally, I've been in the business for over 25 years, studying consumer behaviour, and for the last 2.5 years I've been here in the Philippines getting acquainted with the Filipino consumer.
Mm-hmm. Is there, between price and quality of the product, which ones take precedent over the others?
Look, I would have said price a few years ago, but what we're now seeing is with the growing affluency in developing markets, consumers are becoming more discerning, and quality is now becoming a more important component to their product choice. Price is always going to be important, but quality is now becoming as equally as important.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, you've seen the quality of Philippine products. We're anticipating now influx of imported products with the ASEAN integration. How do you think will this affect Philippine-made products?
Look, I think the one thing about the Filipino-made products is they've been competing against global products for a long time, and very successfully, I might add. I mean, you've only got to look at the likes of a Jollibee, who have been able to defend their turf against, global players like McDonald's. There are great Filipino brands across a lot of categories that hold their own. So I don't see ASEAN 2015 really having a huge impact. I think our local manufacturers are ready. They're listening to the consumer and they're meeting the local consumer needs.
Really? Well, that's contrary to what most say, that we're not ready.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time with local manufacturers, and they're getting geared up. I mean, they're really starting to listen to the consumer, making sure that their brands and their products are talking to the consumer.
Right.
I think the big challenge for global brands is to come into any market and have an affinity with the local population. That takes time, unless you're a big brand, and the big brands are already here. The Coca-Colas, the Pepsis, they're already here. So, what we expect to see out of ASEAN 2015 is brands coming in from Indonesia, Korea, Thailand, and they're going to be a lot harder because they just don't have the same level of globality as the large global multinationals.
Okay, that's interesting. What about Philippine brands? When you think of a Philippine brand, how is it perceived in the global market by the consumers?
That's a tough question to ask because I haven't done a lot of work in that space, but I can only go back to, say, Jollibee, where their strategy has been to go global, but particularly go global where there is a high population of overseas Filipino workers.
That's right.
And then that strategy then allows them to have a knowledgeable consumer who will start to educate the local consumers. And if we have a look at the Jollibee case in the US, where they've opened stores very close to the heartland of Filipino OFWs, then they're able to build a custom. And in fact, I read recently where Jollibee was in the top 10 fast food outlets in the US. So, there is a lot of evidence to suggest that Filipino products can make the big leap outside of the Philippines. And we're seeing local companies do that in Vietnam, in Thailand, in Malaysia, where we've got food products now being exported or even manufactured in those countries for those populations.
So we shouldn't be afraid of venturing out even in those markets where there are no Filipinos.
Look, I agree. I think one of the things that I've learned very quickly in my time here in the Philippines is the entrepreneurial spirit of the Philippine businessmen, and I don't think they fear too much at all. And a lot of the clients that we speak to are having plans to take their products outside of the Philippines.
Right. Partner, may tanong ka pa?
I just want to know when you will conduct the next survey and about what? You'll be focusing on what topics, sir?
I think the next survey that we've got in the pipeline is really understanding the consumer confidence. We measure that on a regular basis. We're expecting the results out fairly shortly, and we're hoping to see the Philippines move from about number 3 in the world to number 2 in the world, because every indication that we're looking at has shown us that the consumer confidence is on the rise. The other study that we're looking at is the role of premium products in the market. We've got a growing affluent market, a young market here in the Philippines, and there's a nice opportunity for companies to look at looking at the premium end of the market. And when I say premium, I'm not talking about the global big Cartier, Tiffany brands. I'm more talking about everyday food products where people are now starting to trade up. And again, goes back to your quality question. People are looking for more quality. So there are a couple of studies that we're really looking into at the moment.
Yeah, but we must also caution our consumers about a lot of companies that do greenwashing, claiming that their products are green when in fact they're not.
Yes.
You raise a very good point. Consumers are not silly. And they'll only buy a product once, and if it doesn't meet their expectations, they won't buy it again. And so companies claiming to be socially conscious or claiming to have a green, if they don't act like that, and consumers do go onto the web and they do use the internet to search out for products and information. If a company's claiming they're green and all of a sudden consumers find that they're not disposing of their byproducts effectively, or they're doing things in the marketplace that are against their claims, they'll quickly drop that product. It's a tough situation. You make a claim, you have to deliver against that claim.
Yes, deliver on what you promised, huh?
Exactly.
And or else you earn the ire of the consumer.
Yeah, consumers today have so much more information at their fingertips that it is a much tougher landscape.
Is it harder now to earn the trust of a consumer?
Mm-hmm.
Look, I would say on one hand, yes, it is harder, but on the other hand, it must be easier because there's so much more information out there that you can easily get your message into consumers' hands. Mm-hmm. I think what the internet and digital has allowed is much more scrutiny. So therefore, in the past, a company might be able to get away with making a mistake or two. These days, they can't.
Mm-hmm. So it's harder to sustain the relationship, the trust.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. It's much harder to sustain that relationship because there's so much more scrutiny in the public arena.
Right. What would be the most trusted Philippine brands? Do you have a list, like maybe the top 5?
No, we haven't done that. That's actually a really good idea for a study.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would envisage brands like BDO, SM, Jollibee would be very high as trusted
like
brands. San Miguel, Meralco, brands that are fairly large.
I have second thoughts about Meralco. Okay, so that's interesting. So do you see any trend in the future as far as consumer behavior, which our manufacturers or companies should watch out for?
Yeah, look, I think this whole movement around social and environmental responsibility is only going to get greater. It's pretty much driven by the millennial generation, and the biggest segment of the Philippine market are millennials. So I think we're going to see a lot more focus on sustainability, environment, education, health, and products and services that can align themselves to helping the community in those areas are going to get a lot more favorability.
Mm-hmm. So when you say millennials, these are the digital natives.
These are pretty much people who are aged 14 to 34 at the moment. So they were born in after the year 1980, and so they are digital natives. The bulk of them have grown up with a mobile phone in their hand.
That's right.
And
more than the bottle, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And connected 24/7 to their peers.
I know.
And I think that's where this social revolution, particularly around environmental, gets a lot of weight because people talk to each other about it. And
but do you see that more people buying online than physically in the store?
It's very early days here in the Philippines. E-commerce and buying online is in its infancy. It is growing, but it's coming off a very small base. We are lagging behind a number of other Southeast Asian markets like Malaysia, Thailand, but we do see that is a trend of the future.
Uh-huh. So you have to develop more the trust there. And, of course, security.
Yeah, that's...
Because when you issue your IDs or your, and all that, credit card numbers, there must be some form of security on the part of the consumer.
Yeah, and that's where the Philippines is at the moment. It's that trust of being able to securely transact across the internet and do it safely. The banks and the manufacturers or the e-commerce providers need to do a lot more work in educating consumers about how safe that is. And that's really what's happened in other markets. Once you get over the threshold of convincing consumers that they're safe, it grows quite rapidly.
Okay, well, partner, pasalamatan na natin at si Mr. Stuart Jamieson.
Yes. Thank you, Sir Jamieson, and it is really interesting to know that we Filipinos are very environmentally and socially conscious, no? Based on the latest survey that you conducted. Thank you so much po.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Stuart. It was a very interesting discussion, and we hope to have you back here again.
More than welcome to come back. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Stuart Jamieson, Managing Director of Nielsen Philippines. Ako, partner, yan. Kung magnenegosyo ka pala, yung 14 to 34 years old ang targetin natin. Oh.
Yun na.
Oo, yun na.
At kami pa rin po ang inyong maririnig sa pagbabalik ng ang programang Ang Tipo Kong Negosyo. Sandali lamang po.
Tangkilikin natin ang radyo ng Pilipino, ang tinig ng mamamayan. Ito po ang inyong lingkod, Secretary Sani Coloma, dito sa DZRB, Radyo ng Bayan, 738 kHz. Konektado ka!
Pinoy! Konektado ka! Pinoy! Konektado ka! Pinoy! Konektado sa PBS!
Ngayon, mapapakinggan na ang PBS Radyo ng Bayan saan mang panig ng daigdig. Sa pamamagitan ng internet, mag-log on lamang sa www.pbs.gov.ph. I-click ang Radyo ng Bayan Live o kaya sa www.pinoywebcaster.com. I-click lamang ang Listen. Worldwide na ang PBS Radyo ng Bayan, ang radyo ng bayan.
Ang tipo kong negosyo.
Sina Tess Ramirez at Direktor Thelma Dumpit Murillo sa Ang Tipo Kong Negosyo.
Akin ka na lang.
Shabam shabam, ya la 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 la, shabam shabam, ya la 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 la, shabam shabam, ya la 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 la, shabam shabam.
Alright, para naman sa segmentong ito, sino yung ating makakasama, Director Thelma?
Alam mo, pag lumalabas tayo ng bahay tsaka nagmamaneho, di ba? Reklamo natin, pollution, sobra na. Di ba? Mula sa mga tambucho, sa mga jeepney, yan, ako.
Nagkakasakit tayo dahil sa mga pollution na yan.
Mga ano nila. Oo. Pero hindi natin mga partner na sarili pala nating mga bahay ay pwede ring magkaroon ng pollution.
Ay, oo. Di ba may tinatawag nga na indoor pollution?
Yun na nga. Household air pollution, alam mo ba, partner, is the fourth main cause of death worldwide.
Matindi yan.
Oo. Hindi natin alam yun kasi nasa loob lang tayo ng bahay. Oo. At ang maganda niyan, merong naka-invento. Ang kakausapin natin, partner, isang inventor at Research Division Chief din ng Bataan Polytechnic State University. Walang iba kundi si Engineer Jonathan Lacayanga at pag-uusapan natin vertical fed stove for cleaner cooking. Ano ba ito? Ayan. Nandiyan na ba sa linya natin?
Okay, Engineer Lacayanga. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, madam. Good morning po.
Yes, good morning and welcome to the program po, Engineer.
Salamat po, salamat po.
Oo. Na pakinggan po ninyo yung aming pinag-uusapan kanina, no? At ngayon, bilang Consumer Month, naisip po natin, paano ba natin matutulungan yung ating mga consumers sa bili nila ng mga gamit at produkto. So ito pong vertical fed biomass stove, ito po ba kayo na-invento nito?
Apo, yes ma'am. Inumpisan po namin yan na pag-aralan noong 2004. Pero formally, nagkaroon kami ng mga experiments way back in 2005 pa. Dahil nga nakita natin itong tatlong suliranin sa loob ng ating tahanan. Unang-una po yung enerhiya, ano po, yung binibili nating panggatong sa gamit natin sa panluto.
Napakamahal na enerhiya.
Opo. Pangalawa po yung yung data o datos na nakuha natin sa World Health Organization. Itong indoor air pollution, no, na nakakaalarma sapagkat tinuring po nila na pang-apat ito na napaka delikadong bagay sa loob ng ating mga tahanan.
Okay. So ano po ang pagkakaiba nitong inyong naimbento na vertical fed biomass stove sa mga produkto ngayon sa merkado?
Opo. Basically ito po ay isang kalan po na na pag sinabi po natin kasing biomass, pinag-uusapan po natin ito panggatong galing sa mga crop residue natin, kaya itong mga sangasan ng kahoy, yung corn cobs o yung busal ng mais, yung coconut shell at marami pa pong iba, Ito po ay tinawag naming vertical fed biomass cook stove kasi po ay ito po ay unique kung nakikita natin yung ating mga karaniwang lutuan ay isinusulong natin yung gatong, pero ito po ay patayo naman yung gatong at sinusunog mismo sa loob, no, at hindi po siya open combustion, so safe at saka episyente po ito.
So saan po nagpupunta yung usok?
Kung ito pong usok nito ay merong, yung stove kasi equipped siya ng extendable na yung parang tambutso. Yan po kasi ang iniiwasan natin, yung usok sa ating mga kusina. At ina-extend po natin ito sa labas ng bahay para nang sa ganon ay hindi na natin ito malanghap na siyang dahilan. Kung minsan, karamihan sa mga bata natin, dudulot ng sipon, pag-uubo at marami pang ibang sakit na dinudulot nito.
Ayun, so parang meron siyang exhaust pipe.
Yes, ma'am. Opo. Ganun po yung kanyang feature. At ito po ay nakakatulong mag-reduce ng air indoor pollution hanggang 90%. Ikumpara natin doon sa, yung tinatawag po nating tungko, yung three stone stove.
Ayun. Naku, partner, ang galing nito ha.
Oo nga eh. Ito kalang de uling?
Hindi po siya dinesign para sa uling, pero obra siya sa uling. Ang purpose po namin talaga kasi i-utilize natin itong biomass na actually waste na halos ito, mga sanga-sanga ng kahoy. Pag may bagyo tayo na dumadaan, nandyan lang sa paligid, tapos sinusunog lang natin. So kung sinupin po natin ito, malaking bagay po, makabawas po tayo sa gastusin pagdating sa enerhiya sa loob ng ating matahanan.
Okay. Pero gano'n nyo naman po katagal ginawa yung stove na yan?
Yung experiment po namin, umabot po siya ng halos 2 taon, trial and error. Kasi nga, gusto namin ay yung mismong smoke niya, halos hindi na natin makita pag lumabas sa tambutso. Sa madalit sabi, ito yung episyente yung kanyang pagsunog nung gatong. Kumpara po natin doon sa kalan na tungko o yung 3 bato, ay napakausok po nito. So, yung ibig sabihin naman to, hindi episyente yung pagsunog.
Ayun.
Opo.
So, ito pong inyong na-invento ay commercial na po ba?
Opo, nitong September lang po kasi nakita ng aming universidad at isa po kasi ito sa tinitingnan namin na pwedeng mag-generate ng income pabor sa university. So, ang aming pong pamunuan ay naglaan ng isang sapat na pondo para i-commercialize po ito, starting po dito sa Bataan at eventually po sana sa buong Pilipinas maipaikot po natin itong kalan na ito.
Ang galing. Ano naman po ang inyong volume of production as of today?
Nung una po naming dinala sa sa mga mamimili. Sa ngayon nakapagbenta na kami. Medyo mababa pa lang, nasa 132 units to be exact, no. Pero ang aming pong target na production po ngayon, starting this October, ay 100 units per month po. For 3 years po itong project na pinunduhan ng university.
Magkano bang bentahan yan?
Meron pong 3 kasing yari itong kalan. Una po yung gawa sa purong GI sheet o yung yero na 1.2 mm yung kapal. Ito nagkakahalaga ng 900 hanggang 1,200.
Okay.
Meron din po naman kaming ginawa dahil sa gusto nating tulungan din yung ating mga manggagawa ng paso, no? Somewhere dito sa may Kamiling area. A combination po ito nung GI sheet at saka yung earthen pot, no, o yung paso. So nagkakahalaga po ito ng 650 at saka yung purong simento po na galing sa lahar po yung pinakaano niyan, yung pumice ang tawag natin, ay 900 pesos po ang nito, ang halaga.
Very affordable naman pala. Yung size po niyan, kasing size ng usual na stove, yung cooking stove.
Po?
Yung size po niya, gaano po ba kalaki?
Yung pong size po nito ay dinisenyo sa 5 household member po, 5 kataong Pero po kung ang bibili ay gusto nilang mas malaki, pwede rin po kaming gumawa base po doon sa kanilang pangangailangan. Kunwari, mas marami sila sa pamilya, o kaya naman po ay sila po ay merong konting restaurant o bulaluhan, ganyan. So pwede po nating i-customize base po sa kanilang pangangailangan.
Kumbaga, yung na-develop nyo lang po ngayon parang one burner, kumbaga.
Yes, ma'am, opo. One burner, pero actually kasama po doon sa dinevelop namin ay yung 2 burner na rin po.
Ayun, partner. Hindi ko lang ma-imagine paano linalagay yung yung pong mga kahoy o yung...
Sa totoo lang po, ang kanya namin yan, isa po nga sa challenge namin, pag pinapakita namin doon sa aming mga potential na mga household, na mga mamimili, ang unang paano pinapagana. Nakakatuwa itong kalan. Basically, ito po ay gumagana sa natural drop. Yung natural na daloy ng hangin, yung mainit, papunta sa malamig. So, ang kagandahan po nito, kapag hindi po ninyo sinasalang yung inyong lutuan, hindi nyo po ito may start. Kailangan po nakasalang muna. Then, parang typical din po, nakala natin na sa una po ay maglalagay tayo ng mga pamparingas. Then, pag sinindihan na po natin, dire-diretso na po itong magliliyab at hindi nyo na po kailangan ng karagdagang pang-ihip.
Yun. Okay, well, binabati po namin kayo, engineer.
Salamat po.
At sana po kayo magtagumpay kayo at makarating ito sa ibang bansa para naman meron tayong masabing Philippine-made. Proudly Philippine-made.
Actually, dagdag ko lang po kasi na-demo na natin ito sa Cambodia and sa China. But pinag-iingatan din natin yung disenyo kasi pag nasa kanila na ito, pwede na po nilang kopyahin although ito ay nakarehistro sa IPO. But ang target po namin ay kagaya po ng inyong wish sa amin na sana mapaikot muna natin ito sa Pilipinas at pakikinabangan ng mas maraming tahanang Pilipino.
Napa-IPO na po ninyo yan?
Yes, ma'am. Opo, noong 2011.
Very good. Importante yung partner sa Intellectual Property Office.
Opo.
Alright. So, kung may bago po, ay meron kayong ma-inventong bago na naman, engineer.
Yes, ma'am.
Tawagan niyo lang kami.
Opo.
Ayan po, si Engineer Jonathan Lacayana o Lacayanga, ang Inventor at Research Division Chief ng Bataan Polytechnic State University.
Okay, mahusay si Engineer. Well, oras na ng ating pansamantalang pamaalam, Director Thelma.
Siguro, partner, next time meron tayong segment, Ang Galing ng Pinoy.
Oo.
Diba?
Okay, maganda yan.
For now, ang galing mo, partner. Thank you.
Ikaw rin, partner. Salamat din.
At syempre, ating mga taga-subaybay, ang galing ninyo. Hanggang sa susunod po ng Biyernes, muli po tayo magkarinigan. Ito po ang inyong lingkod, Thelma Dumpit Murillo. Have a nice weekend, partner.
Have a nice weekend. Until next Friday for another edition of ang Tipo Kong Negosyo Program. Dito lamang po sa DZRB. Radyo ng Bayan. Maraming salamat sa lahat ng aming mga nakatuwang. Kina Miss Marjorie Posas. Kay Marela Jem Castro, maraming salamat. At kay Engineer Rita de los Santos. Ako po naman si Tess Ramirez. Ingat po kayo. God bless. Bye.